Officially, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today as we bring together some very interesting insights from some long-standing marketplace attendees, which I cannot imagine how many years, if we were to capture how many years we've all been attending marketplace, it's probably going to be over the hundreds. And they're going to share their insights into how best to maximize your participation at marketplace. And if you are not registered for marketplace for any reason, after this webinar, we hope that we've answered all of your questions, and that right after the webinar today, you go to chdmarketplace.com and register. So as I said, it is a little bit scary when we talk about time, but it is almost here. It's 60 days and counting. Of course, I couldn't get the countdown to move the minutes as we keep on the session, but it's 60 days before the Caribbean hospitality and tourism industry comes together since January of 2020 for what will be the biggest and most important gathering of the industry. With me today, I'm joined by Karen Witt. She is the chair of Caribbean Travel Marketplace, but in her day job, she represents the Heartland Group out of the Turks and Caicos Islands. Caroline Trobotskoy, Executive Director of Anne's Chastany and Jade Mountain in St. Lucia, the CHTA past president and chair of our Education Foundation. Melanie Rex, freelance journalist from Canada and the Caribbean, one of our greatest Caribbean ambassadors. And Robert Sasaki from Ultimate Jet Vacations in capacity as buyer. So we have every component of participation at Marketplace here. And I'm going to turn it over to Karen to give us a little bit of an overview of what you can expect at Marketplace 2020. Karen?
Thank you so much, Vanessa. So exciting to see all these familiar faces, friends. We have a really good group of buyers and suppliers on the call today, and I just kind of want to jump right in there and see you and hug you. And so I look forward to doing that in Puerto Rico in just 60 days. I can't believe it's almost here. First live gathering in the region of this magnitude in our industry since pre-pandemic. So I'm really excited to see you all in Puerto Rico. As Vanessa said, we have a really robust marketplace plan for this year. Not only is it our 40-year anniversary, if you can believe that we've been doing this for 40 years, also CHTA, it's our 60-year anniversary. So it's a great year to really celebrate and dive right back into all these face-to-face opportunities and meetings and so forth. I'm not going to go into great detail now because I'm going to wrap up in the end, but I will tell you that Puerto Rico are so excited for us to be together in their country. They're really pulling out all the stops to ensure that this year's marketplace rivals any that we've ever done, partly due to the 40-year celebration, but also a lot due to the fact that we're finally all able to come back together. I know so many of you were in Puerto Rico when we had before in 2018, but I got to tell you, Vanessa and I have been there twice in the last few months for planning sessions, and you just cannot believe this country, what they've done and some of the preparations that they're doing for us, but also some of the great things that are just new and exciting in Puerto Rico as a destination. So we all look forward to that, of course. We know that the main component and the primary objective of Marketplace is B2B. Suppliers and buyers meeting each other, as well as the media component where you can actually highlight and promote your destination. Those are critical components to the success and the continued growth of our region. As we remain so very strong, the region is rebounding enormously, and it's just been such a great pleasure to see what's happening post-pandemic. But I would caution and say, we have to keep our guards up. We want to remain strong and we want to continue to grow. And to do that, you have to get out there. You have to put yourself out there. You have to expose your destinations, your properties. And so we're providing an amazing platform for you to do that. You have an incredible panel that we've assembled today from a supplier perspective, from a media perspective, from a buyer perspective. So we would love for you to engage with them, ask your questions. They're going to provide some insights, but the real purpose for today's session is to ensure that you walk away with a full understanding of what we're trying to do, why we're trying to do, and that you're interested in joining us if you haven't already registered with Marketplace 40. So Vanessa, I turn it back to you and I'll see you guys at the end again.
Thank you so much, Karen, for that overview. And before we kind of like go through a few things, let me kind of like set the stage in terms of where we are today as it relates to Marketplace 2022. And this is just a glance of the sponsors that are confirmed to date. We value their support and collaboration as we bring Marketplace to all of you. If there are any companies that are interested in sponsorship, we do have some spots still available in our 3 different categories. And you can contact us at consultant at Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association if you want to learn more, and the website has all of our details from a sponsorship perspective. In terms of buyer representation, as of this morning, we had 69 buyer companies and counting, because a lot of work is behind the scenes as it relates to our outreach to all of the major markets, but also looking at bringing in new markets, niche operators. We're talking to adventure, travel, nature, bird watching, anything. And in particular this year, we're also bringing a special group of MICE buyers, 20 MICE buyers that will be joining us at the event, and destination wedding specialists, all from the US, Latin America, and some international. And this here on the screen shows you the markets that are being represented as of registration today from a buyer perspective. And from a Caribbean representation perspective, we have 22 destinations that have so far registered or are represented either by their tourism board or hotel, accommodation, transportation providers. Mainly all of the destinations tourism authorities are represented at the event, as well as in most instances, the hotel association. So there is no other gathering across the world where the Caribbean is represented as it is right now. So I did wanted to share a little bit of that in terms of where we are. And with that said, I'm going to ask our first insider, Carolyn Trubetskoy, to share some tips with the audience. Carolyn?
Thank you, Vanessa, and hi, everyone. Karen, I can't wait for that hug. So I'm now revealing my age because I've been attending Marketplace since the mid 80s. Whenever you started, I was there. And, you know, we had a small hotel then only, which was on Chastenay, and my needs in 1980 were perhaps a little different than they are now. But when perhaps I needed to establish a small hotel on a more international scale with the buyers that I could I meet with there. Now it is with a luxury hotel like Jade Mountain that has joined our portfolio. Even more important that I just have one-on-ones and really catch up with the buyers that are there, and also really have an opportunity to fine-tune the type of collaboration we have with these buyers. Looking back, I mean, looking at what you have, first of all, let me congratulate you. I think you've done really tremendously well to bring this event back person to person, and we really need this. I'm tired of all the Zoom. I'm happy to be on today, but I'm tired of all these Zoom calls. I want to see Robert Sasaki, who you will hear from a little later. I want to see everybody in person. And I was really excited today. You have opened the appointments, and I saw a lot of new buyers that I wasn't familiar with. So I'm really looking forward to also meeting new buyers. I mean, yes, our resorts on Chastenay and Jade Mountain are well established, but I still go to Marketplace to also meet new buyers. And I feel when I look at the list that you have achieved that. So congratulations to that. What makes Marketplace special for me? Or there's so many aspects to it. I mean, first of all, it is the the only trade event that is really Caribbean centric. So I love the fact that we really can capture the attention of the buyers and not have them go and spend time in the Maldives booth or the Seychelles booth, as would be the place in Marketplace or ITB. So here we are, we're talking about one thing only, that is promoting the Caribbean. So that it's great. And so I feel that the dynamic from that alone really creates excitement, and out of that come good idea and good strategic decisions. The other thing is that I really feel that, especially through COVID, we all ended up working in a bubble. And so I look forward to also meeting my colleagues, my peers, not just the partners, but the peers, and see what they have been up to. Because even in St. Lucia, you know, we live in one part of the island. Sometimes it takes Marketplace that I actually see my fellow hoteliers from St. Lucia. But most importantly, I look forward to seeing fellow hoteliers from other Caribbean islands. So it gives you also a little bit more of a intelligence and a bit of a competitive understanding what's out there, what is happening. And through my formative years, I mean, I'm not a native Caribbean person, but I'm certainly a very proud St. Lucian citizen now. You know, coming there in the 80s, it's opened my eyes to the diversity of the Caribbean. And that's something for the buyers to remember. You're not just looking at a bunch of hotels that sell you a bunch of hotel rooms. You're really seeing the tourist boards, and like, it's exciting. You really get a much better feel how diverse the Caribbean is, why you should sell the Caribbean, and who you can send to the Caribbean: families, bird watchers, divers, wedding couples, groups. It's exciting. I'm excited.
Thank you for that, Carolyn. And I know, Karen, you want to interject with a little bit of an additional reference as it relates to suppliers are not only hotel accommodation providers, transportations, but we also destinations play a key component here. So Karen, turn it over to you.
So one of the great things about this year, we've got some new. Every year we've sort of dedicated ourselves to coming up with growing from strength to strength from the previous year and incorporating new elements and new ideas. And so one of the things that for this year is a focal point, what we're calling our destination pavilions. And we have a number of partners, destination partners, who have already signed into this. And I just wanted to specifically mention those destination partners: Puerto Rico, USVI, Jamaica, and Cayman Islands. Now, what does this mean? What's a destination pavilion? This is a place where each destination has an opportunity to showcase, from a cultural perspective, anything that they so choose from their destination. It's not only about product and place, but we're digging a little bit deeper into the culture of the island, the heartbeat of what the countries are trying to showcase and trying to represent. So these will be positioned strategically at the beginning of the show, at the entrance. And it's not necessarily the place where you go for the meetings. They're more of a celebration. It's more of a showcase of and highlighting each one of these and the strengths and the beauty of the different islands. Just want to mention, for those tourist boards who may be on the call, we have 2 slots left. We only have 6 destination showcases to present this year. So if you're interested, reach out to Vanessa right away. I know that we have a few people who have expressed some interest, but there's only 2 more. So that's it. Thank you, Vanessa, for that.
Perfect. And I'm going to ask Melanie, who I can say it's, you know, one of the best Caribbean ambassadors that we could have. Melanie, from your perspective, you've attended Marketplace from a journalist perspective. Tell us a little bit about your experience, but also how suppliers, buyers, and those attending Marketplace can really benefit from the journalists that are in attendance.
Thank you all for the opportunity to be on this panel. Carolyn, Karen, Vanessa, all of you, your excitement, it's tough shoes to fill for me for sure. But I'm going to give it a Girl Scout try, as they say. Very briefly, I'm an island girl at heart. I was born and raised in Manhattan, and I moved now where I live currently on the sunny island of Montreal. Yes, I'm sure some of you are saying Montreal's. Yeah, it actually is. We don't have the palm trees and the ocean waves, but it is in fact an island. So I guess I like to be around water. Vanessa's quite right. I've been at many marketplaces, and I can say truly, you know, media such as myself, we get a lot of invites to either single destinations or more specifically to conferences or shows. And Marketplace, our Marketplace is really the A-list top of the, I mean, nobody doesn't go if they can go. I've heard, I have journalist pals who didn't go to family events so that they could go to Marketplace. And if any of them are listening, two of them are going to know exactly who I mean. So it's really, really a high priority for us. And just to follow on Karen's talking about suppliers and buyers, of course, journalists are suppliers and buyers. We supply content and we don't buy for money, but we do buy, sift through, make sure pitches and things make editorial sense. So we're all basically there for the same reason. And what's so fantastic to me and really stood out from the very first one I went to, which I don't know, feels like it might have been in 1812, but there's been so many, is that this is a group that is unlike any other. We are all really looking forward to seeing each other. Even if we didn't do our respective jobs, we still would want to see each other because all of, we're going to see folks we haven't seen in real time in 2 years. But we're such a big family. I know that might be a cheesy-ish kind of word, but we have so many commonalities, the region being, of course, the first one. And it's a very heartwarming experience always to walk into Marketplace. So be prepared, bring an extra box of Kleenex, because when we all walk into this one in 60 days and however many minutes, according to Vanessa's clock, are left, we're going to be all over the place. So I'm so looking forward. Very briefly, Marketplace for media is a bonanza. It's a content well that is limitless. So don't be afraid of us destinations listening, private sector listening. I know we might seem a bit rushed or harried or whatever adjectives I hate to hear people use, but we really do need the content. I mean, quite selfishly, we all need content that's fresh and new, and we're so genuinely interested in the region that we hope you will approach us. We'll all be at your news conferences and stopping at, at your tables or in the, at the entrance as Karen just described, but don't be shy. We'll all have name tags. Just a quick note on housekeeping. Come up to us, talk to us. If we don't know you, it's the hugs and everything, and we don't need your contact. We already know you, which is so many of you all. But for the new members, make sure we know who you are. Show us your name tag, take our email addresses, send us and follow up. Very important. We don't need so many of the paper business cards. Don't give us a paper press kit. Where are we going to put it? Just follow up quickly with whatever your resort is offering that might be new, or the destination, or an angle that you think. And quite frankly, last thing for the moment, and I'll be happy to take questions. We're so used to receiving pitches that we, as a second nature, can fine tune them. Don't bury the lead. If you renovated your lobby, but kids are also staying and eating for free, then you want to say kids are staying and eating for free at the top, because the renovated lobby, not so much. And use words like free. Like, I know that sounds possibly déclassé, but if the kid's in your room and you're not getting an additional bill, then the kid's free. And we're all under this tight economy. So go for the pressure points that the consumers want to read about. The bottom line is we are all encouraging tourism to the region. And that's what the aim of the exercise is. So whatever you think it is the biggest draw, and we will fine tune it for you. So don't be shy and please ask us. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Definitely looking forward to seeing you. And as a reminder, as part of Marketplace, it's probably something that it's not seen by the delegates, but we do have a press conference room, a press working room, where all of the journalists that are at the event sit down and they work through all of the assets and the information that they're able to gather. And we also make available for our participants the ability of submitting press releases, so that in advance the journalists can have access to that information. Some journalists as well have access to the online directory and are listed on the online directory, and they'll be reaching out for requesting appointments as well. So for those that are registered in that matter, please take advantage of the opportunity, because as Melanie said, they're looking for all of that content out there. So thank you for that overview, Melanie. And I'm going to ask Robert now for his insights from a buyer perspective, right, for our buyer participants that are on the line, but also if you can talk to from a supplier perspective, what are the things here and there that they should take into consideration?
No, of course. Thank you, Vanessa. I've been attending Marketplace since about 2014. And over those years, there's been so much value. I think we could probably break it down into three things. It's already been covered on by these ladies, but intel, collaboration, and relationships. And I'll give a little bit of an example of how all of this kind of comes into play from a buyer and a supplier perspective. The Caribbean has faced some unique challenges over the years, whether it was Zika or Irma and Maria in 2017. We all face challenges, obviously, from 2020 and beyond. But being together and sharing that information, sharing what the perspectives are from the supply side, from the buyer side, and then collaborating and finding ways to further the destination for everybody. Because when the destination is successful, everybody's successful. One example from that, and it was actually in conjunction with you, Carolyn, and Vanessa, yourself as well, was after 2017 with Maria and Irma, CHTA was a great platform in reaching out to Carolyn, or I believe Carolyn reached out to me, and I worked with you, Vanessa. We had a program, Together Stronger, and I had used it as a platform to reach out to various hotels in the Caribbean. And I asked for every booking, can we have a donation to help rebuild the destinations that were impacted by Irma and Maria? So we had about 40 properties participate. From our side, we participated as a company as well. We raised $40,000 to help repair and rebuild some of the destinations that were affected by Irma and Maria. That was really powerful. It might not sound like a lot of money, but this is piece by piece, and in aggregate, you get an amount that actually makes a big difference. Relationships that I have with Carolyn, she was sparking initiative to drive education in St. Lucia a couple years ago. Things that we've done since. I met Tim Luxa with Sugar Beach. I don't know if he's on this call, but after COVID had hit, there was a lot of what we were trying to do to kind of bring back business to the destination. So we co-opted with American Airlines. Tim and Sugar Beach was driving kind of that piece, and we did air credits to try to drive business. Carolyn participated as well. I've worked very closely with Karen Witt in terms of trying to have events in the destination in Turks and Caicos. You might think that you know the destination, you come back every year, you visit every now and then, but the destinations are changing so quickly. I almost didn't recognize Turks and Caicos when I was there earlier this year, because what's happened in that destination over the past 5 or 10 years, it's light years ahead, and the transformation was extremely quick. So really, again, the relationships help drive this collaboration and this intel, and the relationships that you get at CHTA extend so far and so wide, and really help drive that collaboration. It's different. A supplier's needs are different than a buyer's needs. But when we come together, it really helps provide more information for everybody to do well. Because at the end of the day, when the Caribbean is thriving, everybody succeeds. And I think that's ultimately everyone's goal. So it's not just about, for me, going and finding new partners. That's one piece of it. The other piece is getting a pulse on the intel. So for example, last year, in that surge of the demand that the Caribbean had, I wish I could have had CHTA in a normal way, right? What were we seeing last year? Suppliers were yielding up incredibly, right? This is the kind of intel that is enormously helpful in the moment. Sometimes you don't realize things that have happened until after the fact, and that doesn't help other suppliers. So even from a supplier perspective, right? You're around your colleagues and your peers. What are you doing? What's been successful? A lot of you might subscribe to star reports. A lot of you might get some intel from each other or from an island basis, but we have so much resources. We have so many different points of views and so many thoughtful people that if we collaborate on a larger scale, we get so much more use out of that. So again, in short, for me, it's all about the relationships, and honestly, it's also a lot of fun. I love seeing so many people there, and it's a highlight for me. So yeah.
Robert, thank you for that. And actually, I have a question for you, because we always, sometimes when we're talking with prospect buyers, they say, well, but I do not sell the destination where the event is at. So there's no point in me going there because I don't sell that destination. So what would you say to that buyer outside of what you've already highlighted, which is key?
Well, so that was kind of new for me too, and I can explain a lot of instances. Before I wasn't selling Dominica, and I met Dinesh Kissoon, who's with Secret Bay a few years ago, and then you end up selling the destination. Partly relationship, partly because it was the right product. Going into Puerto Rico, which CHTA was held a few years ago, it was not a destination that I had sold often, but you get there, you go to Old San Juan, you get the feel, the culture, you start to understand what makes that destination unique. And sometimes you realize, well, maybe I should be selling that destination a little bit more. And even beyond the destination, again, this is Caribbean wide, and the influence from all the islands that are participating, all the properties, is so much broader than that specific destination. So I hope that kind of answers that question.
It does. I'm going to open the floor for the entire group for any other remarks anyone wants to give in before we go through a few quick questions here and there. Anyone?
I mean,
Caroline.
for me, the new properties that perhaps have never gone to marketplace, I think it's really important that they consider coming to marketplace. It's not just the property themselves being there, but also the statement you really set for the whole Caribbean region. It shows you that things are happening, that that we are fresh, that there's new product coming online. And I think that, you may find that especially branded properties that are part of an international hotel chain, I think there's always a tendency, they're going to be at WTM or so. But to me, you stand out in the Caribbean, and we need the new properties to be there to also really help us showcase how vibrant the Caribbean is, how new things are happening. So that's my little, call out.
No, certainly. And we do have a few questions from our friends. Gay, thank you for joining us. You've also been a real great ambassador for a number of years, forever and ever. And her question is, will there be a series of press conferences or one wrap-up press conference? And the question is, there will be a series of press conferences. Those are open to the journalists that are invited to the event. And the press conferences will be from our destination sponsors and other destinations that are in attendance. The press conferences will take place on the Tuesday and Wednesday in the morning. Usually they are from 9 a.m. till at about lunchtime. And in the afternoon, we allow the press to do their own thing, either walk the selling floor or just go to the working room and do some work. And there will be a plan for the journalists that are in attendance to do some visits before the event starts or after the event starts. So those invitations to the media that has been identified to receive an invitation for the event are going out actually early next week. Some of them have already been circulated and all of the plans, but certainly Puerto Rico is planning to showcase what some of the new product that they have around. Particularly, they will be showcasing to everyone Distrito T-Mobile, which is an entertainment complex just right across from the convention center. Those that have been in Puerto Rico before, when you actually get to convention center, you will be mesmerized with how that whole area has changed with the addition of Distrito T-Mobile, which is an area with about 12 restaurants. I mean, excellent cuisine, the gastronomy and everything. So from a journalist perspective, you'll have the opportunity of seeing all of that. And also for the buyers that are in attendance, there will be some pre-activities that buyers can sign on, and as well on your own. And through the online directory, you have the ability of connecting with the individuals at Discover Puerto Rico. So if there is any specific area that you're interested in visiting while you're in Puerto Rico that you're not seeing, please get in contact with Discover Puerto Rico. And if anything, just let us know as well, so that we can help you with those connects. We have a few questions here, and we have insider tips for a first-time attendee. anyone that wants to take those?
Do you want me to? I mean, for me, honestly, you need to, I would advise that if you come for the first time, really attend all of the events that CHD is putting on. The networking is really important. Don't be shy to stare at people's name tags and also wear your own and introduce yourself. You've got to really make contact. And, you know, for me this year, one of the things I will invest in is like getting a little more electronically with the times, so that I have my business card on a QR code on my phone, and I have easy ways to share information. And then the other thing is, we are always so busy. If you make good contacts during the meetings, also really make your notes in a fashion that you can do a follow-up email right away. Because if you go home and you try to read your scribbles, it's usually a mess. So try to be really organized so that the follow-up is there. The secret is the follow-up. It's not just a meeting. You got to be coming out of each meeting with a distinctive strategy. Why did I have that meeting? What am I going to get out of it? Also, prepare for marketplace. If you have a new property, speak to your destination to get an idea of what tour operators, wholesalers sell your destination, so that perhaps you also can see, well, am I working with all of them, or are there one or two that I really want to try and make contact with? I could go on, but there's other panelists. Sorry.
Certainly. And Robert.
I think from a buyer perspective, it's very much similar to what Carolyn had said. Regardless of if you're a buyer, if you see another buyer, say hi. If you see people and it's a hotel that you don't have an appointment with, you have a few minutes, stop by and say hi. You never know how that comes around full circle. You know, I used to be with one buying company. CHTA was a venue for me where I met another, you know, Jeffrey Lee with Pleasant, Jesse and Raquel with Island Destinations. There's value in that. So don't just think you're here for the opposite side of the table. You're here for everybody. And these relationships can extend so far in terms of sharing intel, again, maybe to what extent is appropriate for your company. And beyond that too, making friendships, because those kind of blossom and lead to things that you would never expect. Francine, I believe I saw Francine Carter with Visit Jamaica on here. I don't currently work with her now in a formal capacity, but I met her at CHTA, and we get on the phone and we talk about what's going on in her destination. These things carry with you for a long time. So don't take any of that for granted. Buyer, supplier, it doesn't matter. There's value everywhere.
I think I can add something too, Vanessa, here. So such great tips. And Carolyn, you had some great ones, and everything we've just heard. You'll run into media, and as Carolyn said, don't be shy. And none of us, shy isn't a word at Marketplace. And when you see on our name tags, or if you don't recognize our faces, come prepared. That's the best plan. Everyone's on their smartphones now, hence the QR code with your business card. Have a press release on your phone that you can send in the moment that you're talking to a person. The press release should not be a PDF format, by the way, because when we download it, we can't work from PDFs. So have it in a Word document, one page, 2 or 3 high-res, cool, funny, funky, colorful photos of whatever matches the release, all on your phone, so that you can really get a lot of bang for bumping into someone and your buck for the moment. After we have a chat or whatever we have, before anything starts or during something more formal, you can follow up immediately, because as Carolyn said, if you say, I'll send it to you by the end of next week, that ain't gonna happen. No one's gonna remember. It's not interesting by then. We want that stuff sent right away, and we can do that with smartphones now. We didn't have that years and years ago. So let's just use the technology to its fullest in the moment.
Karen.
Yeah, so those are all amazing tips. Just to add to sort of what everybody is kind of saying, you need to be prepared. And this goes for a new buyer, a new supplier, an existing buyer, existing supplier. Once you go into Marketplace, you're truly going to get out of it what you put into it. You have access pre-Marketplace to the online listing, the directory. Take some time and understand who's attending and what do you need out of that. Also, one of the things that, I mean, I remember my very first Marketplace so many years ago, I'm not going to say how many, but I loved the opportunity to meet other hoteliers and talk about best practices and really trying to understand in the different destinations, what are some of the cool things that you're doing, and so forth. From a media perspective, you need to be prepared to tell these amazing journalists why your destination, why your hotel, as opposed to Europe. Why should you come to the Caribbean, to the region, to your special place, right? Don't just talk about, and Melanie really hit the nail on the head so perfectly. Don't talk about your lobby renovation. That is not really what Marketplace is about. Marketplace is about selling the vibrancy, the culture, the experience, and just the whole heartbeat of our region, which is so very special and different and unique than any other place in the world. So make sure that before Marketplace, you're making these notes and you're really preparing yourself for what it is you want to get out of it and what it is that you want to give once you get there. And I think that is really the key to a successful Marketplace, because it's just like anything else in life. If you just show up and you don't really put a lot into it, you're not really going to get a lot out of it. So that's my biggest tip, is to do your research, do your homework, be prepared for the media, be prepared for the buyers, and look at some of your colleagues around the region. Maybe there's a hotel that you've heard about and you've seen it and you really want to know how did they do something, or why did they do something, or you can talk about any best practice, and it ranges, the gamut, because you do have the key, I think, really innovators of the region all together at Marketplace. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you for that. Yes, Melanie.
Vanessa, that was such a great point, Karen, about coming prepared. And in terms of working with the media, look for the local angles. Like, for example, if there's a gardener at your property that's been, landscaping the gardens from nothing and now they're fabulous for 50 years, or gardens in the destination, have that information. We like that information. That's really authentic travel. And it's so far more interesting than Karen said, a renovated lobby, unless the lobby's renovated or upgraded by a family of artists who have been renovating lobbies in the region for half a century. But just upgraded lobbies, no. Every destination and resort has locals who have their own story to tell. Who are those people? Tell us about those people, because that really adds the human touch to the coverage, and it separates your resort, hotel, destination, private sector product from the rest of them. And there are so many, which is a good thing, but you want to look for the standout factors.
Thanks for that. And we do have a question. Is anyone allowed to enter the press room and talk to the media in attendance? It is usually a small room, so I know that the team there usually tries to keep it light because it could get really tight. But you can always go in, knock on the doors, and again, if it's possible, it's not like there's restricted access. It's just a matter of ensuring that everyone remains comfortable. But certainly, and as I said, there is a request to all of our attendees prior to the event for press releases and any other stories. Make sure that you send your submission and look for the media on the online directory, because you can connect with them in advance. When you search on the online directory, you can search for a press and they'll show up. They're not registered there yet. So this is going to be something that if you want to do, you should do, I would say probably 2 weeks before the event and things like that, because they are still in the process of being registered. And regarding the appointment requests on online, the appointment requests opened early this morning, and it is open and accessible to appointment taking and appointment sharing delegates of companies that are registered. So that means particularly for our supplier attendees, your company has to be good with your CHTA membership and paid up your registration to have access to that. If you have any challenges, please email us at events@caribbeanhotelandtourism.com. But once you go into the appointment request on the online directory, make sure that all of the information that you want buyers or suppliers or the media to know, it's on your profile. You have the ability of making updates to your profile when you go online. And Karen, we haven't talked about this, but maybe we do another session where we walk people through the online directory and pros and cons and things that everybody can do so that everyone has that opportunity. If you need to block certain appointment slots, at the event, you are able to do so. You actually have to send the message to us for us to do that, because we want to make sure that you do not block the entire calendar by mistake. So if you need to have certain appointment blocks blocked, send us a note, events@caribbeanhotelandtourism.com. That's the email address that you should have available for any questions that you have about the event. And I know we're getting close to our time, but I do want, before we wrap up and before also we bring up some quick questions, we had a question about the schedule of events. So at Marketplace, everything is pretty much appointments, right? However, on the Caribbean Travel Marketplace website, and that's chdamarketplace.com, there is a tab, Schedule of Events, that gives you the overview of what's happening day by day. On October 3rd, CHDA is having a board of directors, and you will be receiving very soon details about the Caribbean Travel Forum and Awards Lunch, something that we're doing specifically in celebration of CHDA's 60th anniversary and Marketplace 40th anniversary. And we hope that you join us there. And of course, registration opens that day and the opening celebration. And pretty much Tuesday and Wednesday, it's just back-to-back appointments. Appointments are 20 minutes in length with 5 minutes for buyers to walk from one place to the other. So in Tuesday and Wednesday, it's appointments, and the evenings we've actually left as standalone evenings. We haven't scheduled any events, official events, so that on Tuesday and Wednesday, suppliers or buyers have the ability of inviting or doing their own scheduled events. And we've done that so that none of those events conflict with the opening celebration, because we really want that party to be the biggest celebration across the Caribbean. And I also want to highlight all of the information that you need for the event. The CHDA Marketplace website will be your resource. With regards to hotel accommodations, we do have rates that are available at our 2 host hotels, the Sheraton Puerto Rico Hotel and Casino and the Caribe Hilton. The Caribe Hilton is just a 5-minute drive from the convention center, but shuttles will be provided, and there are still rooms in both hotels. If you have not booked yet, we urge you to do it very, very quickly, because we know that blocks are filling up rather quickly in those destinations. So we really want chdamarketplace.com. And before we start wrapping up, because we said we would wrap up by 4:45, but I don't want to close until we go over a few things. There's another area where you can actually help us ensure that Marketplace 40 is one to not be forgotten. And there's been a few marketplaces that have been groundbreaking, and we want this next marketplace to be the same. So do what Karen and Caroline have been doing, and others as well. On social media, on your social media channel of preference, post that you're attending Marketplace, post that your company will be attending at Marketplace, and just remember to tag #CHTA Marketplace 40, so that those that you work with but either do not know about the event or have questions about attending, they can see that you'll be represented there, and that expands help word of mouth about the event and supplement our efforts. Before we wrap up, just 1 minute, everyone, their final comments and thoughts to the audience, and I'm gonna go the reverse. Robert first.
I can't wait. So many old faces, and like every CHTA marketplace, that sometimes the biggest joy is finding new faces as well. So I'm so excited and I can't wait.
Melanie.
I ditto that. Seeing new old friends making new ones. Great a point you had about booking the hotel early. For those that find this interesting, the Caribe Hilton is where the pina colada was invented. That bartender Ramos, somebody, don't quote me, but that's their claim to fame. And at the lobby bar, it's worth a stay. So looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you so much for today.
Carolyn.
Well, I hope to see a lot of new faces, all the ones here that have listened in that haven't signed up yet. I hope that you all come up to me and say hi. I saw the panel today, and we signed up. Last time I was in Puerto Rico, I was still president of CHD, so I really look forward coming back to Puerto Rico. I will never forget the opening. I always speak about it. I had the Puerto Rico Symphony Orchestra behind me, and they played Despacito. I mean, it was the greatest moment, I would say, in my marketplace, presidency. So I can't wait to see Puerto Rico again. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
Karen.
Thank you so much, everyone. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but CHGA 60 years, Marketplace 40 years, 60 plus 40 equals 100. So I'm going to say that's 100% Caribbean, right? And again, we have so many reasons to be together at Marketplace. You've heard them today. There are many more. I just want to say that if anyone needs more information, if you would like to reach out to Vanessa or myself, we're certainly happy to help you, because at the end of the day, it's all about, Robert said it at the very beginning, together stronger, and we're growing together, we're growing stronger. Support. Someone put in the chat earlier about, is there still space? Yes, there is. You can still register for Marketplace, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a supplier. And I wanted to just tell you a funny little story that happened at the beginning when we started really contacting suppliers, contacting buyers. The buyers would say to us, well, we want to know which suppliers are attending before we make our decision. And then the suppliers were saying the same thing. Well, we want to know which buyers are attending before we make our decision. So we really had to push hard to get off. It was like chicken and egg. So bear that in mind and just know that it's super important to have your participation. If you are a supplier and you're in a particular destination, try and encourage your colleagues to join in. It really will make all the difference. If you're a buyer, and I know all these buyers are friends, that's one of the incredible nuances about our industry, is that even though the buyers in some ways are competitors, wait till you see them together in Puerto Rico at Marketplace. There's no stronger friendship than what the buyers have with each other. So please encourage participation. We need you. We need all of you. And Carolyn, if you thought the show in Puerto Rico before was extraordinary, just wait to see what they have in store for you this year. It's going to blow your mind, I promise you. So anyway, with that, thanks to everyone for joining today. We look forward to seeing you all in Puerto Rico.
Thank you. And this definitely will not be our last session to talk about Marketplace. We will be putting one together to talk a little bit more about the appointment request process, give more insights, and also just to spread the excitement, because we really cannot wait to see you all in 60 days, 2 hours and counting. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the afternoon.
Bravo. Thank you.
Thank you.